Welcome back to the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. We just did an interview on local radio and they had some great questions and it kind of exposed the real South Africa. So check it out. And of course, like and subscribe.
You're listening to 919 with me, Sam Marshall. It's a social impact show, Mondays to Fridays from 9 to 12. What we do here is really spotlight individuals that are doing amazing stuff to drive brand South Africa forward. And the next two guests in studio, they are doing something absolutely kick-ass. We'll talk about it right now. Before that, we had Liquid Deep, Settle for Less. Hopefully you're not settling for less on this Thursday. It is towards the end of the weekend, Friday, tomorrow, then we head into the weekend. And then some of you will be winding down. You'll start getting ready for your holidays. It'll be family, it'll be friends, it'll be lack of activity, it'll be lots of eating, lots of celebrating, and then January comes. Hopefully you would have done all the right stuff to make sure you have a great January, not a terrible January. But okay, we continue with our conversations. As I said, you listen to the Social Impact Show, and today we have got a really awesome duo. They remind me a little bit of The Incredibles. Have you ever seen Mr. and Mrs. Incredible? Yeah. So what we've got Mark and Dr. Natasha Blanton in studio. They are the founders of something that I really, really like, the Real South Africa. And what they do is they get African Americans to come to this country, and they're on a mission to introduce their travelers to vibrant cultures, stunning landscapes, and luxury. And you know, South Africa has some really luxurious spots. And this is what they do. Guys, good morning. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
So, okay, let me start with you, Mark, because you're the closest to me. So you come to South Africa. Mm-hmm. You have a fantastic time, and what happens?
Interesting. I come here and it was World Cup when I came, so that was an amazing time for South Africa.
Yeah.
And
Ubuntu. That's geest, that's spirit, that's
everything. Yeah. And it was amazing. We had a good time. Keep in mind, I was a government worker at the time, U.S. government worker, U.S. Secret Service. I came with Joe Biden when he came, so I was part of the detail and traveled the earth, been everywhere. But when I came here, it was totally different. It was like, wow, this is amazing. Keep in mind, I had never been to any other African nation, but I've been to every nation in South America, Central America, Europe, been everywhere else many times. But when I came here, it was just different.
It was just like something spoke to you.
Absolutely. I was actually, calling my wife because she was back at home. And I said, girl, this place is something. This is crazy.
Is that the words you use, Dr. Girl? This place is something.
Well, yes and no. There was a couple of expletives in there because he was just like, you're not going to believe this.
Beep.
Yeah, really. And I was just like, why are you so excited? Because I tell people all the time, he doesn't really get excited about too many things.
Because he's traveled everywhere.
Yeah,
exactly.
Everywhere.
So it's like, oh, it's another trip. And he never came back from any other trip talking about how awesome it was. But this one, he was talking about it before he even got back. And I was like, this is different, right?
Yeah. And then,
I was like, he's excited. And then when he came home, that's all he talked about. And I was like, what is it with this South Africa place that has him so excited? He's like, I got to take you back. I got to take you back. I got to take you. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see. And then eventually the friends that he made here, they were practicing Ubuntu as well. And they just kept saying, when are you bringing your family?
Yeah.
When are you bringing your family? We want to host you. And in 2011, he brought me, and I was stunned from the moment I got to the airport. I was like, the airport's beautiful.
It's not what you're hearing back home.
No.
Exactly.
No. I mean, the truth of the matter is, I never had any desire to come to the continent at all.
Okay.
I mean, but that's typical for a Black American.
Very typical.
Very, very, very typical. It's like, why would you go to Africa? There's nothing there. They really make you believe there's nothing here. So when I got here, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And he saw my face.
I was watching her and like, cause she was sitting behind me, and I'm kind of like,
you know, when you watch a movie, you've seen the movie before, and
Yeah.
it's coming up. This is,
yeah, and that's basically how it was.
Yeah.
And I was just watching her little mouth was hanging down. She was like, this is incredible, because even though I took a lot of pictures and showed her these things,
It doesn't
not the
really
same.
portray the magnitude and the scope.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's quite interesting that you talk about this perception, because right now we're in the richest square mile of Africa.
I know.
The disposable income here is 8.9 billion rand, just our listenership.
yeah.
And so people don't talk about world-class infrastructure. Was there a perception or an idea or a misconception around what South Africa would be like? I know you came here on official duty.
Yes.
But did you have that? And did it take a lot of convincing for her to understand you have no clue actually how amazing South Africa is and how advanced it is? In many ways, it's the America of Africa.
Yeah, I think it's better in a lot of ways than the Americas of Africa, because I've been through all of America. I mean, from the farmlands to the mountains to the most major cities, if not all. And I find that Johannesburg is more congruent with African Americans for sure, and so forth. But it didn't take a lot of convincing, because she's always believed in, when I.
You're a traveler. So
Yeah.
You go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's times I'm like, okay, we're getting up this morning and we're driving to Chicago. And she's like, whoa, are we? Yep. And we jump in the car and we drive. It was a nice little drive, 8 hours, 12 hours somewhere, but we go.
Nice. I like that word, nice.
Yeah, and whatnot. So, but yeah, it was very interesting. And I, one of the things that I would like, especially for South Africans, to understand that they do have a vibrant country across the board. Obviously, just like anywhere,
There's challenges.
there's super challenges, and in the U.S. we've even got more challenges that they don't tell you about, but we do. And then, of course, being a minority in the U.S., we have even more challenges.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
coming here is just a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, and you talk about those challenges. I recently watched a BET special with D.H. Hughley, and it was on men, black men. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I didn't see
It was a
it.
2.5 hour broadcast, and they were talking about the challenges of black men in America.
Yeah.
This was before the Trump won this election. So your husband comes home and he says, you hear the excitement. It's something you've never heard before. You then come in 2011, you're blown away yourself. What was the conversation like to say, was it, girl, we're staying? Or was it
No.
was there a moment where you looked at each other and said, I don't think we're going back? Or did you go back and you were there at home when you went, like, there's something we're missing? What was it?
Well, I'm going to go back a little bit. So this is how the world works. So one particular Wednesday, I was working someplace else at the time, and he happened to be off that day. And I had stopped to get us lunch, and I just popped in for a few minutes. And on the television, there was a documentary called Blacks Without Borders, and they were highlighting some of the people that came over to South Africa after '94, right?
Yeah.
So we were watching that, and then we never saw it again, but it was talking about like what was available here, the opportunities, the housing, like what was here. And we're like, South Africa. It didn't show anything luxury. It just talked about the affordability of housing and what the opportunities were here. There was a lawyer that quit her job and started an Airbnb and was in the mining industry, like all those things. And then a few months later, the trip for him came up, and I was like, okay, that's weird.
There's something.
Yeah, something's happening.
So when all
bubbling.
so when all of that happened, so by the time he brought me back in 2011, I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this. And then at this point, we just started having a conversation. So in 2013, we're like, let's go and see if we can actually live in South Africa, because
this was post 2011.
So after the first trip in 2011, we're like thinking, hey, maybe we should look into retirement options in South Africa. Well, that's not really the point. It doesn't matter how young we look. But yeah, the conversation started, and we never really stopped talking about it after 2011. So when 2013 rolled around, and he's like, hey, at this point, we've got a business going, everything is going well. he's like, let's just go see if we can live in South Africa. So I found a place in Clifton. We rented an apartment.
Beautiful
Yeah.
on the coast.
And we didn't know what Clifton was.
Yeah, we didn't know.
First Beach. We didn't know anything. We just
Yeah.
it was affordable.
Yeah.
We was like, okay.
Well, affordable for you guys.
Yeah, we was
Yeah.
like, okay, fine. So 2 months later, we was there for 2 months.
Yeah, two months. And this is, to me, this was the catalyst. I love Cape Town. It's beautiful. We had an amazing time.
Yeah.
One of those weeks, we had to come to Joburg. And in that week, we're like, that's it. Joburg is the place that we're going to move to versus Cape Town. We were younger at the time, so Cape Town's a little slow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Joburg was it. And then eventually we just, we picked Joburg. And then we had a 5-year plan, and we ended up here in 2018.
Yeah.
So
I want to talk about your business because I
Sure.
think it really drives brand South Africa forward, and you're doing so much advocacy work for how people need to think about Africa. And Africa is the beautiful thing about being a continent that's no longer developing, but we're somewhere securely between developing and developed. And because we're adopting technology so quickly, you'll see that, for example, M-Pesa that was developed in Kenya has leapfrogged payment currencies around the world. But you now decide to move, and I want people to understand this. So you now come here. What is your family saying? Because you're very successful, successful. You've got a thriving business, and now it's the Tarzan in the jungle going to Africa. What is the family saying to you? Were they like, this is amazing, we love it? Or was it, guys, are you sure? What's happening?
Well, it was funny you say that. Everybody else were, they were working for someone. We owned our own company, so we had a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
So that's why we kept coming back and forth. We was coming here 3 and 4 times a year, and spending a couple weeks at a time. So we was getting to know South Africa. We was getting to know South Africans, the customs, the courtesies that happen here, difference between a Zulu and a Xhosa.
The culture,
Yeah.
the culture and the people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it became very intoxicating. It was like this, the way things operate here makes more sense from an African perspective, not just an American perspective, because it doesn't work. From an American perspective, we always trying to, contort it into an American perspective. So
Very
keep them
strong traditional values here.
exactly, extremely.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of operating in that even when we went back. So keep in mind that our families are all Americans. So when we're talking and they're looking at us like, you guys don't really make any sense, so forth and so forth. So they wasn't really on board with us, like, why y'all keep going there? Because at this point, we were traveling, through the Caribbean. We were going to all these different cruises. We stopped all of that.
we did. We stopped.
No more.
everything.
Yeah, so we was here.
100%.
If we wasn't in the United States, we was here. And then it became we were more here than we were in the United States. So people would call, because we still had U.S. cell phones. People would call and ask, where are you? Because they just assumed that we was in South Africa.
Well, you were here so much that even on your postings and Facebook, people were like, do you live there now?
Yeah.
You're always there, because we were always here.
Yeah, but family didn't really get on board at first. And we tried to get them to come. Nah, we're not coming. We're busy. Yeah. So then I think around 2015, I just stopped talking about it. I said, "No, you ask me a question, I'm not saying anything." Or I would just be like, I'm done. Yeah. And then now, it's fast forwarding all these years, my oldest sister lives here, her and her husband.
Wow.
My sister, who's 3 years older than me, her house is being built. She'll probably be here in Jan.
Wow.
Maybe Feb,
That gives you like goosebumps.
Yeah. They're here, and family members are lining themselves up because now.
Well, don't forget our daughter's here.
Oh yeah. My
she
daughter
just moved here 2.5 months ago.
Wow. Yeah, she's here.
And what does she think?
Well, she's
the
been
feedback that you've gotten from her. Is she blown away?
Well, she's been coming since she was like 12.
Of course, yeah.
So she's just been waiting for the right moment for her to get here and live.
Wow.
So she always knew she was going to be here, but for such a time as this, she's been...
You literally got your entire family to rethink Africa, rethink South Africa.
Yeah.
And they're now moving here.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing.
And for us, it's amazing too, because like I said, we stopped talking about it. We were just, so then we started living our lives, and they started seeing how our lives were going. And they was like, well, maybe this is something that we need to explore, and they needed to take it seriously. Yeah. And they did. And then they came here, and they They're not just coming here just to do the American thing in South Africa. They're literally trying
to live here.
Yeah, they're coming to try to be South Africans. Yeah. In a lot of ways.
And we're very friendly. We're a friendly bunch of people.
Absolutely.
We've got some issues, but as you've said, there's challenges everywhere.
Yeah.
So now you go from living here and you see an opportunity, not just advocacy work on behalf of, the president should give you an award. But okay, so you start doing this advocacy work and you say, here's an opportunity to get Americans to experience not poverty-ridden Africa, but luxury Africa.
Yeah.
On a scale, you've got over 45,000 followers on your YouTube. You're sitting at 28,000 on your Instagram.
Somewhere.
You've posted 1,500 videos across YouTube. So you've done a lot of work. So when did you decide that this is an opportunity for that kind of exchange?
Two things. First of all, we're business people at heart, so we ran our company.
You're entrepreneurs.
Yeah, we just can't help ourselves. We see everything from a business perspective. So the first thing was that the Black travel arena wasn't organized. It was just a bunch of people just, hey, we'll go to Ghana, we'll go here, there, try to figure it out. And so there was nothing formalized. So I did all the research and then talked to all the organizations, so I decided to put together a formal thing where you can just go to the website, therealsouthafrica.com, and pick your trip, make your payments, do all this stuff. And so that really helped. So we started that. We started the groundwork before we left. So let's say 2017, 2018, we kind of started that. But again, here we are. We lived in the DC metropolitan area. So politics is like number one topic, number 1 through 10. Right, and I was at the White House, so it's even like 1 through 100. It's like everything is politics. So I get here, and so I'm learning South Africa still, even to this day. And I listen to the State of the Nation address, right? And back then, President Zuma was the president. Yeah. And like number 2 or number 3 topic is like tourism. And they was talking about how we need to expand tourism, bring more people, do these things.
All that stuff, yeah.
Exactly. And then we looked at the arena because we had already did the work, and we realized that nobody's really talking to us African Americans in the United States. And we travel everywhere else, but we wasn't traveling to the continent. Yeah. So, and especially South Africa, we just wasn't, and the numbers bear it out. Just talking to the various agencies, SA Tourism, TBCSA, Brand SA, all these guys, they were like, they're just not coming. So we decided as business people, well, we can do that. And we're Americans, and we're the type of Americans that a lot of people look at and say, oh, they're a decent couple. Yeah. They do okay. We will listen. So that's kind of how it all started.
I can only imagine that, and maybe it's the sub construct of your fear, is that there's maybe a perception of fear about how safe it is in South Africa, and having you guys live here and being the conduit and then documenting all of it. If you're an American, all of a sudden you feel a hell of a lot safer traveling to this country because your peers are already in that country. There's a lot of proof that it's safe. You guys are the dream. Yeah. And you automatically become the testimonial for South Africa in many ways. Yeah. Because when you travel, sometimes you have a fear, especially if you're watching the news, because it does build up some kind of idea of unsafe animals in the street, that kind of thing. Yeah. And have you had that safety conversations with people?
Absolutely. You would think with the invention of Beyonce's internet that people would know to use the internet,
YouTube, Google, Instagram,
all those things but they still ask questions about safety. So we still have to kind of battle that every now and then. But for the most part, they understand that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't safe, and we wouldn't be promoting tourism if it wasn't safe. And the way we promote tourism and the way we do our luxury tours, obviously you're going to be safe when you're looking at luxury. I do want to point out too, really, really quickly, that while we were in Cape Town, we did see another. So this isn't our first business in South Africa.
Okay.
Our first business was a toy store called Dream House Toys, and we noticed that there was a lack of representation with Barbie here in South Africa.
And it became a huge topic in the media space as well.
So we cut a deal with Greece and Mattel, and we had rights to import the Black Barbie for 2 years, from 2014 to 2016. So when I tell people, when they see a Black Barbie on the shelf now, it's because we cut a deal. So and we asked them outright, like, why are there no Black Barbies? And he basically said that South Africans saw Black Barbie as poor and white as rich, and that they wouldn't buy into, that they wouldn't buy into. I mean, boardroom.
And that's not true. Yeah, you needed
representation.
You needed somebody who was
100%.
willing to kind of knock down the wall and say, I'm not going to accept that.
And a lot of girls, when they saw that Barbie, didn't think it was real. They're like, did you make this doll? I'm like, no, it's an actual Barbie. She just happens to be Black.
And they said they'd never seen them before.
They had never seen one before. They thought they didn't make them.
I remember those stories when they started. And I think because of that, we then started seeing this all of a sudden locally, all these other dolls spread out.
Yes.
And there was that impetus to kind of start developing dolls that look like you.
100%.
And also that. So kudos on you for that.
So I just want to put that out there.
No, that's a great story. Okay, so you've got and why luxury? Because I think, sometimes for me the challenge with traveling is that you want to show people this is a horrible word, the authentic South Africa.
Right.
South Africa is many things. It's not just Soweto as a township, and it's not just Mandela and the struggle. There is this kind of opulent 5-star, 7-star lodges. Why luxury?
It's too easy. I say thank you. Thank you for throwing me that softball. I love this question. No, it's a good question. First of all, when we got here and we started talking to the people in tourism here in South Africa, especially here in Johannesburg, for those people who are listening far away, they didn't look at Johannesburg as a tourist destination. They only looked at it for business. So you only can do businesses here. There was no leisure or leisure posture here. So we looked at them and we was like, we're going to show you, and we did. So that's one of the things that we do. So now a lot of businesses are picking up on that. A lot of people in tourism, and then those that have seen us. We've had South Africans say, I got into tourism because I watched you guys. You guys came from way over there and came over here and got into tourism space. So they're creating their own products in the space, and especially when we go to the travel industry. But the luxury space goes like this. Most of us Americans, Black Americans, for some odd reason, everybody think that, we all come from great situations, and we don't. So stuff like Soweto, Suzanguve, Tembiza. I mean, I can go on and on. Mlazi, you name it. We come from stuff not too different from that. It's not that far away. The food, the all that, and that's where I think that we connect, because a lot of us we realize that. Fortunately, some of us have went through through the 60s, 70s, and the 80s, and we're benefiting now. Just now we're benefiting. And so we want those things, but in the United States, we can't access them as easy as we would like to. We would get there and it would be a bunch of people who don't want us there. Even though we can afford it, we got the monies, we look the part, we're driving the Porsche, we're doing all the stuff, they really don't want you there. So you kind of shy away. So we are always looking for places that we can go that cater to us. Yeah. So we decided, because we're part of that crowd, that there's a place that in South Africa, y'all have it in spades. Y'all have way too much luxury. And everywhere you go, there's always a lifestyle something somewhere. No matter which township you go to, no matter where Max's lifestyle is, it's in the name. So you guys have it. So what we decided to do, since nobody even knew about it, and even South Africans didn't really acknowledge it, especially here in Joburg, because the only tourism place is in Cape Town. Sure, that's cool, but the reality there is in Mpumalanga. I mean, Mpumalanga is amazing.
Beautiful.
Don't even start. Yeah, I pushed it, but people didn't really take on to it. Yeah. But when time will come. When I double back to this in Mpumalanga, Cape Town, I'm gonna be like, maybe, I don't know, but I'm gonna do what I do. But at the end of the day, the luxury thing is what our clients are always looking for. Yeah. And then they're like, well, okay, but if I come, will they accept me? Can I relax? Can I just put my guards down? And then they get here, and that's where you get a lot of reaction because they're like, wow, I've always wanted this luxury space. Thanks for providing it. But again, the service piece, that's all South Africans.
100%.
Most of them, and then everything that they're running into is South Africa. So that's why we call it the real South Africa, because they're running into real South Africans. They might not be in the townships or the villages, but they're running into South Africans everywhere. And I think that's our biggest point, that when they get here in these luxury spaces, they're already relaxed. They finally got what they wanted. He can finally bring his wife to this space, and they can sit down.
And it's world class.
Yeah, and see, and it's world class, and they can see people that look like them. They are over the top. So even on our YouTube channel, The Real South Africa, on YouTube, people are emotional. People, they're emotional because you would, and then of course, you would think, well, why didn't they know about this? Trust me. There's no marketing campaigns, there's no nothing. And we were brought up from just like your culture, you learn it at home, we learn it at home. Don't go to Africa, don't talk about Africa, don't bring up Africa, regardless of what it is. If it's in Africa, we do not go. Wow. And that's what we do. And unfortunately, it's been that way for forever, but Africa, and especially South Africa, you guys have fought the fight, you guys have done all the stuff, you guys, have, made it possible for what I just said. You guys have made it possible. And so that's why I'm like, let me make sure that the people that we run across in South Africa benefits as much as we can. So our people come and they...
No, because they're spending their money.
They're spending a lot of money.
They're going to different places, and I think that's very, very important. And that in turn creates jobs and all that kind of stuff.
And that's the point.
And also the other thing I think which is quite amazing as we wrap up this conversation is that at this point, it's thousands of people that you've brought to South Africa that would have never. I want to make that clear. It's thousands of people that you've brought to South Africa.
Yeah, and that's thousands of people that we brought. But then there's another undercurrent of people who came on their own, and they
watched your videos.
Yeah, they watched the videos. They came on their own. They are exploring South Africa. They are keeping people working, because we remember during COVID. When everybody was ramping it down, we were ramping it up, literally. And then even the establishments were like, well, we got to cut it down. But we still had people coming. Yes, we had an 8 o'clock curfew. Yes, you had to wear a mask. Yes, you had to, distance and all that. But they were accommodating. They were like, if you're going to bring them, we're going to accommodate them. And Tasha will tell you, some of the people after COVID was like, thank you, because we wouldn't have had a job.
Wow.
Because of that.
No, that's true. No, kudos to you. I take my hat off to you. I think it's amazing work. My producer, I didn't know you guys existed until my producer, he got hyped. He was like, you've got to meet these people. These people are on another level. They are doing stuff. Well, I don't know what that word is he uses. He's like 20 years younger than me.
Yeah.
But for those that want to engage with you, I know you're bringing Americans here. Is there any experiences that you're building for South Africans too? Can they connect with you? Because one of the things we don't do in South Africa is that we've had the Short Left campaign.
Sure, and we're part of that.
Yeah, and it was to get South Africans to travel, because we think we have to go overseas, and we don't think of South Africa in the way you guys see it, with luxury, opulence, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
it's all here. The best thing that we could do is just shine a light on it. I'm never interested in trying to take money out of a tour operator's hands here in South Africa.
Okay.
Could we?
That's great.
Could I do it? Of course I can. But I refused. I've been offered. I've been asked, can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm like, there's a local tour operator wherever you want. Yeah, that have been in this space for a while, needing a break, because when you go to the Travel Indaba, they call it hidden gems.
Yeah.
And those are guys that are really putting it together. They're working close with the tourism, like SA Tourism, Gauteng Tourism, Northwest Tourism, and then even some of the municipalities have their own tourism brand, and they work together. And so I try to point them to say, hey, go to those guys. I think I got in an argument with somebody who wanted, you want to take my money? I said, it's not about that. I mean, I'm here to help. You're bringing a completely different group of people that you would not have had access to. Exactly. So,
wow, that's amazing. I think they should just follow you. So it's The Real South Africa on YouTube,
yep,
on Instagram, and you saying you're dabbling in TikTok.
TikTok. I forgot what the thing is.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, but
Just search it when you get there.
Yeah, I think if you Google The Real South Africa, we're probably like the first 3 or 4 pages, nothing but just us. But then you can reach out. But like I said, we really want the tourism industry to, because we can see firsthand how many people work and get jobs and can take care of families just because tourism is doing what it does.
And because you guys are doing what you do. Well, that's Marky Blanton and Dr. Latasha R. Blanton, founders of the Real South Africa Luxury Travel Company, talking to us about this amazing thing that they do. And that's what we do on the show every day, every week, every year, is to spotlight amazing individuals, organizations, and institutions that are fanatical about brand South Africa. That's interested in driving not only the country forward, but building the country. And I believe that if we focus on these individuals, if we support these individuals, we can really change the perception of Africa from this rape, murder, fraud and corruption to a country, a continent that's alive with vibrancy. And we want all of you to be part of it. So if you've got any thoughts, any comments, share with us, 084 22 12 919.
Have a groundbreaking.
All right, guys, the real estate tour for 2025, it has been set. We're going to Durban. Durban is amazing, as you can see. A lot of coastal villages, a lot of coastal property that you're going to be able to see right there on the Indian Ocean. We're going to be having a lot of events while you guys are there. Just like the 2024 trip, they were surprised of how organized and how well it was, and that they had access to property, and you're going to be able to have access to property as well. So if you ever thought about having property in sunny South Africa, this is your chance. I would say book this trip immediately, come through. Of course, we have payment plans and so forth. And of course, we have a lot of content on our YouTube channel talking about what they did in 2024 and in 2023 and in 2022. So I would say, for you guys that are interested, come to sunny South Africa Real Estate Tour.
I want to give a shout out to the Real South Africa, therealsouthafrica.com, and the Real South Africa on YouTube, Facebook, and any other platforms out there. Mark and Dr. Latasha Blanton, as always, they do a great tour and service, for the people. They do it top notch, 5-star, and they set the bar pretty high. And the bad part about setting the bar pretty high is that if you don't kind of match what they're doing, I can't be moving with you too much. Sorry, when somebody put the bar that high. So, I definitely want to give them, props, for the tour.
All right, guys, this is Mark Edward Blanton from the Real South Africa. And guess what? Our visa services is back. We're going to be helping you guys with visas because we all know that it can be problematic to get a visa here in the Republic of South Africa. So what we have done, we partnered with a big company that will assist us, and we've checked them out. We've We recommend that their services are very, very proper. Of course, we go with proper here in the Republic of South Africa, and they can assist you. So if you have questions about, do I qualify for a visa, then that's when we have our consult. You get a consult with these guys. They will literally go through everything with you. And my expectations is for you to ask all the questions that you need to ask so you will know exactly which way to proceed. So they work in every arena of immigrations. So it would definitely help us who are looking to migrate to the Republic of South Africa. And all I can say is first, come on a trip, of course. And once you come on a trip, then you will be motivated to do all the work that needs to happen for you guys to come to South Africa properly. So all I can say is this is a great team. This is a great situation. All I can say is, again, reach out to us at outreach@therealsoutafrica.com. We will respond to you, and then you'll get an email, and then the process has began. Okay, so we will see you guys here properly in sunny South Africa.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.